This is going to be a panel discussion, a conversation with young adults living with kidney disease and transplantation. Accompanying us today is Austin Lee, Alexa Patti, and Myles Engel. Austin is a two-time kidney transplant recipient and former peritoneal dialysis patient of the DC, Maryland, Virginia region. Austin is also a mentor for youth and young adults who have experienced kidney disease. Alexa is 1 year out of the kidney transplant. She graduated last year from the university and is working full-time, proving that kidney disease is not going to hold her back from reaching her goals. And finally, we have Myles. Myles is a kidney transplant patient, and he was diagnosed with Alport syndrome. He is currently attending DePaul University. So welcome, Austin, Alexa, and Myles.
Hi there. Thank you.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
There we all are. So thank you all for joining us today. This is a wonderful opportunity for you guys to share your experiences with our audiences. And so we'll start off with our first question. Seeing that you guys all have, to some degree have experience with kidney disease. So my first question here is, what were some of the thoughts and feelings that were running through your head when it was first brought to your attention that your kidneys are not functioning as they should be? And also, how did your family take the news? So I will just go in order from what I see. So Alexa, would you like to start us off?
Sure. Yeah, so I got diagnosed in 2018. And I remember at the time, I thought I had more time than I actually did. And I honestly didn't take it too seriously at first. I was kind of like in denial for a pretty long time. Like it didn't seem to be affecting my life so much. And of course, my parents were like on the exact opposite spectrum where they were freaking out and they needed like all this information right away. And I think their reaction kind of pushed me to like be on the opposite end where I was just kind of like, okay, like this is serious, but not happening yet. It's not happening now. Like we have options, like things like that. So I think that was more of my approach is, started with a little bit of denial, which I think is part of the grieving process of knowing that your life is going to change. But, as things got closer and they got more real, I started to kind of take it to heart. But initially, when you hear it, you're kind of like, what? They don't have that. I don't even feel like, well, I didn't even feel that bad at that point in time. So initially, it was just a lot of fear, I think, and just feelings like that.
All right, yeah. Myles, would you like to share your thoughts?
When I was diagnosed with Alport syndrome, I was only 7 years old, so I didn't really grasp the situation that well. I like lost my hearing and a little bit of my sight when I was around like 7 years old again. So I didn't really grasp the gravity of the situation really until I realized I had to get a transplant in 2018. And even then, my parents were so like supportive and calm, and like they were just always there for me. They made me feel like I wasn't going through anything bad, which isn't always an approach to take. But for me, I'm very independent. So it was nice to see them not freak out or anything. And that like really helped me stay strong like the entire time.
Wow, incredible. Austin, would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah, sure. So when I found out that my my first kidney was going into renal rejection, it came as a complete shock. And I actually went through a battle of depression and ups and downs. I just kind of felt like how is this happening to me? Like how could I lose my first kidney, because I had my first transplant when I was so young at 4 years old. And so at 17, I was just thinking, I'm about to graduate. I'm about to graduate high school, go to school. And, everything just happened so fast. And I just had to, just kind of wrap my head around it and just start a whole new process of how my life was going to be. And for my family, they were also like my older brothers and sisters, and they were also in shock themselves, because they now had to, adjust like in a house, with me about to start dialysis and things like that. So, just being, very, very down, emotional roller coaster. So that's how it was for me.
Wow, very interesting. And I just want to remind everyone that you guys can also ask your own questions by entering them in the chat located at the bottom of your screen. So we'll be moving on to the next question. So can you guys tell us what are some of the challenges that you face when dealing with kidney disease? And I'll start backwards. So we'll start with Austin.
Some of the challenges when with dealing with kidney disease is definitely sometimes how the medication side effects to me. Also, the fatigue when you're on dialysis, and then the diet changes. So being able to pre-transplant before, like you can't have certain foods, but then post-transplant, then you can. So it's kind of like you got to educate yourself like before and after. So those were a few of the challenges. And then also I believe one big one for me was just like my physical appearance from when I went on peritoneal, because I had undergone hemo for about like a month, but I remember just going out to a restaurant and I just had like these big old tubes in my neck and just like people were just staring at me. So it's just like, just the appearance was a big challenge for me, and self-esteem as well.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Myles, would you share some of the challenges that you face?
I didn't have too many challenges, I feel like, just because like it's difficult, of course, sometimes, but to say it was a challenge, I wouldn't really say it was too big of a challenge, because again, like I just had people there for me, like every step of the way, that it felt like even when I went to every single appointment alone. I never like brought my parents or anything. I don't know. I just felt like it's kind of a burden to them a little. So I just did all that stuff alone. And so they like gave me the strength to do all this stuff. So I can't really say it was a challenge, to be honest.
Proving again, as you mentioned before, that you like that independence.
Yeah.
So you, Alexa, what are some of your challenges that you faced, if any?
Yeah, so I was in college when it started getting really bad. And I would say like just the pressure of school, which I think anyone can relate to, that was like a big challenge. And it was something that it was just a constant push to get through it. But I think socially too, it was definitely a challenge, because like just letting people know for me was difficult. Like I kind of hid it for a while. I was like, I don't really want people to know. It's a very private thing, because some people don't take it well or they're too immature to understand. So I think having that whole lag where you had friends that like you cared about and stuff, but it's like they didn't really know how to be around you. Like my roommates would either treat me like I was too sick or I was fine, and it's like, and I'm going through this battle where I'm feeling sick all the time, but I'm still able to like get up and do things. And I had friends at home that were the same way. So it's like, I feel like socially it was a challenge. And even with like extended family too, they were kind of looking at me like I was terminal, and I was kind of like, I'm going to be okay. Just it's going to take a little bit longer. So I think just setting an expectation for what you want people to do for you. When you have it, I think that's really important, because people kind of just take your lead. And I think it took me a long time to understand that. And if I would have understood that a little bit earlier, I think it would have been easier on the other people in my life, let's say. Yeah.
Very well said on that social aspect of it. And we always seem to think about these situations in forms of challenges and negative impacts, but sometimes there's a chance that something positive has emerged from it too. So how has your life been positively impacted by all this? Alexa, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, I think I'm definitely more of a compassionate person. And I definitely believe now that everyone has a battle that you don't really know about. So it's definitely made me more compassionate and a little bit easier on myself. I think I was definitely way harder on myself and on my body before I had this done. And it used to stress me out all the time, like not being in a certain place or all that stuff. And it's definitely allowed me to relax a little bit and understand that sometimes like things aren't in your control. And I used to have horrible anxiety like all the time about everything. And then once I kind of went through this, it kind of cured it, because I went through something so traumatic, something that was like very life and death. And like once I went through it, it was like anything that used to bother me, it kind of stopped. So in some ways, like I was able to return to my life and not have so much anxiety, which for me was like great, because if anyone's ever had anxiety, it's a horrible feeling. So that's definitely done that. And it's also good to like just be part of a community. Like no one wants to be in this club, but it's nice to have other people that understand what you're going through. I mean, I had a girl that helped me out that was like a year older than me, and now we talk all the time, and it's like a really great friendship. So there's things that come out of it that are positive. It just takes a little bit of time to actually see it.
Wow, yeah, well said. Myles, anything positively that emerged from all this for you?
Yeah, pretty similar to what she said. I was lucky enough to have a close friend who also had a transplant, oddly enough. So I had someone like almost my entire childhood to relate to almost. Of course, I didn't get a transplant until later, but it was a positive to be able to connect with this kid. And I think I wouldn't change the things that happened to me for anything, because it made me a more empathetic person. It made me realize the value of life, because I definitely not that I didn't care, but I didn't think about how important it is to like love people and do the things you want to do and like be a good person, because I personally don't always feel like I have a lot of time on this earth. So I try to do things that will make as big of an impact as I can.
Yeah, definitely. Austin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I really like what Myles said there, because one thing for me as well has just been, even though I've dealt with kidney disease my whole life, a positive is my outlook on giving back to the community and educating other young people and just people in general on kidney disease and organ donation, and then also just learning how to be patient, because when I was waiting for a transplant, when I waited for 3-4 years, and then now you talk about when we're in a pandemic, a time where you have to be patient with things, it's really helped out a lot, because when all of this first started, it really didn't bother me, because I was like, well, I was on dialysis, so I have that patience to kind of keep my mind right and get through, and just being able to understand that with my disease, that I can be able to, I want to be able to help so many other, I want to learn about, like people with heart disease, cancer. So I just have like compassion for so many other different things as well. But I understand that with my story and my journey, it has been a stepping stone to get to those things as well. But patience is one big key thing for me that has definitely been a positive that has come from out of all of this.
Yeah, definitely. You guys gave really incredible, thought-provoking ideas there. So my next question for you guys is, given that you've all had a kidney transplant at some point in your lives, I'm sure that there are some required medications to take. Austin, you mentioned that, or was there ever a time when you had to take out your medication and felt uncomfortable, which has probably led to talking to others about your kidney disease? Austin, would you like to start off?
Yeah, sure. So when I was 17, 18 in high school, and that was around the time that I had lost my first transplanted kidney. And see, my dad used to get on me a lot about putting my medications together, till it got to the point where I believe I had turned like 18, and it was just like, okay, like I'm not going to remind him anymore. He should kind of know, how to, adjust and fill his medications all the time. But the thing is, being that young, I kind of got relaxed, and I was just like, okay. And then there would be times where here and there, like it might be like I'll take it, but then sometimes it'll be like a day will go in like in between, and I'll forget, or then I'll take it in the morning and I'll forget to take it at night. So, but I have definitely learned now that my transplant is lasting longer because of those immunosuppressants. So it's important to take it at those, certain times that your doctor gives you. So, and that was one of the biggest things that my pharmacist kind of helped me with at Children's Hospital in DC, it's just helping me to understand that, like, as long as, when I take it, like, if I don't take it in between this time, it allows for things to attack my transplanted kidney, which I don't want to happen, which could lead to rejection. And so, I just want to remember, and I have like alarm clocks and stuff like that now, where, like, I just always know to refill my medications, because that's one important thing. Like, you can miss a dose in between, and like rejection can come just like that. So yeah.
What about for you, Alexa?
Yeah, so I originally, that was kind of a worry that I had going into the transplant, is like I was never really diligent about taking medicine. And I was like worried for a while about it. But then once I like went on dialysis and I saw all the things they were doing just to help me, stay alive, it made medicine not so difficult, because it's such a small thing that you can do to like keep yourself healthy, that that's just such a easy, like, low maintenance thing compared to all that medicine. So it made me more serious about it. And I actually was lucky enough to get a living donor kidney. So when I had it done, like, my cousin had donated, and I was like, I would never want to do anything to like hurt it in any sort of way. So my parents, they didn't really help me with it. They kind of just said, like, this is a big deal, but you need to manage it on your own. So I gave them a couple of pills. Like, just give pills to like people that you trust and people that you're with a lot of the times, because in case you ever forget it, someone else has it as well. So that really helped for me. But also, like Austin said too, I definitely set alarms for it. I mean, it's been long enough where, like, I remember the 10 a.m. one, but the 10 p.m. one, like, if I'm laying in bed or I'm out or something, like, it's good to have alarms for that, especially when you're just like starting out. It becomes pretty easy. But I mean, yeah, it's a lot of pills when you first get there. I mean, I take like a lot of both of them, and it does bring up some conversations and things like that. But you have to remember that so many people take so much medicine for different things that you're not really alone. Like, just because we take it for anti-rejection, like, people take it for all sorts of things, heart disease, cholesterol, like, it doesn't matter. So it made me, like, once I kind of realized that people take medicine for everything, it made me not so self-conscious about taking it in public. And I mean, you don't have to explain it to anyone. If they look at you funny, you kind of just look back. If it's none of their business, it's none of their business. So you can keep that as private or as public as you want. You just have to decide what's best.
Well said, yes. Myles, your thoughts?
Yeah, I used to forget like a lot, and it was just so hard to remember, because I was always doing something, and like, so hard to remember sometimes to take your medication. And like, it's not that I don't know how important it is. It's just, it really slips you. It's like a daily thing that you do every single day. It's like just something you always do. And it's as easy as like forgetting to brush your teeth in the morning before you go to work or something like that. It's like the same thing. It's like, it's a routine. So I set my alarms. I do all that stuff. I have like a Monday through Sunday like kit where you can just put all your pills and stuff in it. And I find that easy, and I just take that everywhere I go. I never leave without that. So that's what I do. Yeah.
I like how I'm starting to see some of the connections between you guys. There's some similar actions that you guys take, which is pretty great. So how important would you say is the relationship between your medical provider and yourself, and why? Myles, would you like to start?
As in like our doctors?
Yeah.
I mean, I love my doctor, Dr. Gosain. She's been awesome for me. So.
And what are some questions you think are like important to ask your medical provider or your doctor?
Dr. Gosain always stressed that I shouldn't be scared to see my labs and things like that. So I think it's important to like be rational, ask for facts, and try to stay in reality, because you need to be on top of your stuff. And I think it's important to always be asking questions to better yourself, especially when we're put in such a worse spot. We're put in a worse spot, so we need to like, stay vigilant with that kind of stuff. So
yeah, definitely. Austin, what are your thoughts on how important is the relationship between your medical provider or your doctor and yourself, and why?
Well, it's very important, and especially now, since I'm covered in adult care, and I have an adult nephrologist, whereas I had a children's nephrologist, because just being able to have that connection with them, to be able to follow up so that nothing is like lacking in between, so that like if I need to know about my labs, like, and I wanted to, like when you were asking what's a question, so like instead of telling me that my labs are good, I need to know the number of those labs. So if it's like, I'm pretty sure like, you know, Myles and Alexa probably know about creatinine and stuff like that and your kidney function. So I need to know what is it that it needs to stay in between. So I don't, you know, if I need to drink more fluid so I don't get dehydrated. So it's just, and just having them understand, like, because we all come from different backgrounds, different communities. So understanding like, you know, the background that I come from, the community that I come from, and just making it comfortable that we can really ask any questions and not get rushed off, because this is a, you know, like Alexa was saying, she had a living donor. I had a living donor. Somebody decided to donate to us, and that's very important that the doctor understands that that has to last forever. So if we have questions that we need to ask, like, you know, that's very important for the health professionals to know.
Oh, your thoughts, Alexa?
Yeah, so I also have Dr. Gosain, and she's probably the best doctor you can go to for this kind of stuff. My main thing was like my parents were always in the room with me, and it used to stress me out to the point where like I couldn't even talk to my doctor, you know what I mean? And it would get really stressful. And so what I did is I just signed like a HIPAA form for my parents where they could ask questions, and like that was fine. But like when I went to my appointments, I started going alone, and that made me feel a lot better because questions that I had, concerns that I had, like were coming from me and not my parents. They were coming from the actual person that had it. I would just say find a doctor, especially because we're all young, find a doctor that you can relate to. I mean, we're a very small population of people that have this disease so early on in life that really need to find a doctor that like can empathize with you, but just gets it, you know, gets that you're not old, gets that you want to live a normal life again, gets that, you know, you want to travel or you want to do whatever you want, because I think that just makes a big difference. Like, you don't want someone that's treating you like you're 60 years old. You know, you want someone that you can relate to, and that will comfort you with your fears. Because I had a big time like looking for a donor. Like I was so afraid of asking, and she said something that really helped. And she said, you know, there's some people that'll you know be like, I'm sorry, can I do anything? And there's some people that'll be like, tell me more. Like what's really going on? And those are the people that love you and want to help and will donate. So I think it's just kind of the best thing to do is just ask questions that are going to make you feel comfortable when you're going through this disease. So if you need to know numbers, like know that. If you need to know how to deal with asking about a donor or what that process looks like ask those questions. But as long as you're comfortable with your doctor, you should be able to ask whatever you need help with.
Yeah, wow. Well, that was really incredibly said from all three of you. You guys gave a wonderful advice and thought-provoking thoughts as well there. And I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. You guys are incredible, and your stories and sharing your experiences have been wonderful to listen to. I hope it's been wonderful to listen to everybody else. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. We'll stay in touch.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you.